Straddling the islands of Hedsøya and Borøya, this is where Hurtigruten's founder, Captain Richard With, took the challenge to safely and reliably connect communities along the rugged Norwegian coast. You can watch the presentations on the TV. It's an ancient settlements in the area, date from the Iron Age, and was first settled about 7,000 years ago. And we go to the museum. Oh, that's where the old ship is, the Finnmarken. And we are in port. This is Stokmarknes. And that brown building is the museum.
My name is Lars, and I will be your guide for this evening. Come on.
That's what I want.
And we need the down here.
Hello, this I want, with the alcohol.
Yeah.
This is pretty darn amazing. It really is. It's pretty amazing to look up from the hull all the way up to the top of the Finnmarken. Hors d'oeuvres, drinks, and we're going to be dining on the Finnmarken in the first class cabin.
So my name is Richard Witt. I am a former captain and the first manager of the Vesterålen Steamship Company that was established in 1882. And this September I will be 180 years old. So I welcome you to Stokmarknes, the birthplace of the Coastal Express, the Hurtigruten, the fast route. It all started in 1880. In the 1880s, the fjords here were filled with herring, the little small silvery fish, tons and tons of it, the silver of the sea. And I was out in my fishing vessel, a larger sailing vessel, no engine, and we were loading fish on board my boat, and I realized this work was slow and tiring. The problem was not to catch the fish, it was to transport it down to Bergen and Europe to the markets. So I invited a local doctor on board. His name was Dr. Tode. He was, of course, traveling in his boat. This was the Highway 1 at the time, not by car. So I invited him on board my boat, and I said, there must be a different way. We must buy ourselves a steamship for speed and reliability. And luckily, he agreed and invested some money, and I myself, I rowed in my rowing boat to all the islands of Vesterålen, selling my idea and collecting funds. And 1 year later, we established the Vesterålen Steamship Company and bought our first steamship that we, of course, called DS Vesterålen. Yes. And the company was a success. We traveled up and down the coast of Norway with this steamship moving fish and other goods up and down. But I had a greater ambition. I wanted to create a more stable route between north and south, with many boats circulating like the blood vessels of a human body, that were able to arrive and depart at the same time every day, 365 days a year, winter, summer, storm, still, whatever. This was my dream. And in 1892, the government called for a route. And if you look at the map here of Norway, they called for a route between Trondheim, which is pretty much in the middle of Norway, Trondheim, larger letters there, and up to Hammerfest, which is hard to see from here, but it's pretty much on the top. They called for such a route. And the larger companies down south that had more boats than I had, they regretted it. They feared the risks because the route involved sailing at night. Can you imagine how it was like to sail at night in northern Norway, wintertime, 130 years ago? It's waters for years already, for 10 years. And I had a pilot with me. His name was Los Holte. Los means pilot. And he was a very particular man. He wrote down in his logbook every time, compass bearing, and speed between every shallow, island, lighthouse, land, marker, island, shallow. And there were thousands of these notes in his book. And he had written all of this down during summertime when there was 24-hour daylight. We, of course, took the job between Trondheim and Hammerfest. And on the 2nd of July, 1893, we set off and started the Hurtigruten, the speed routes. And the first journey there was a 3-day celebration up to Hammerfest because people were so glad that this route had finally come. Because in the wintertime, it could take weeks for the mail to arrive or anything because everything was coincidental. So all the way, people cheered, hoisted flags, fired cannons to salute, and we arrived ahead of schedule. So this was the beginning of the Hurtigruten, the speed route, and there are two things you must understand. One is that the boats were not faster or hurty through the water. They just simply did not stop at night, which was the new thing here. Which made it much, much faster because they just switched passengers and goods and moved on. And the second is about me, Richard Witt, the first night sailor to be able to do this. This had never been done before north of the Arctic Circle. Another thing you must remember is that there is no ice on the water here in the winter time. One more thing I would like to say, and that is that in 1922, something else happened that was I'm very proud of, and that is that for the first 30 years, the boats could not come here to the birthplace because of a narrow strait between Hinnøya and Andøya, right north of here, called Risøyrenna, a 5-kilometer stretch. It was too shallow. And I had been in the government, in the parliament, fighting for this stretch to be dredged, to be dug up. And finally, on June 23rd, 1922, with King Håkon VII on board as a guest of honor, and me, we were sitting up in the smoking lounge, the luxury lounge for men that we still have some parts of, and the women's lounge we have up here. We were sitting there in a sofa, smoking cigars, drinking champagne, with 400 local boats around cheering for this strait to be opened, exactly as the bow cut an 80-meter long banner that was stretched across the straits. So this was a great celebration, and the next 100 years the boats could come here, yes, if you would like. So have a nice journey, bon voyage.
And either to do the left and the right, and then straight ahead, you'll see the first class lounges. So just
At first, I thought the guy was an audionic, what are those people from Disney World, where they're like a little robot, like Abraham Lincoln does a speech.
So have a seat in one of our lounges.
Okay. Have a seat in a lounge.
And then the ship we have upside there.
Is even a piano? Yeah, this is where we're sitting.
Inside there.
Is there one with 5 people?
This is the smoking lounge that we're having dinner in.
Complimentary? It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
There's salmon, mashed potatoes. There's also vegetarian veggies and all that, but I'm just not that hungry. Daniel, you would love this gift shop. Leonard, what about you? Do you enjoy gift shops? Beautiful, beautiful. Of course, what else would you expect? It's Norway, right? Got to tell you, what a great cruise. Wonder if I should buy one of these for my granddaughter, great-granddaughter.
But there was like 20 others.
Nice posters, but I don't have the space. They have another gift shop down here on the main level, too. It's my favorite little trolls. Love the trolls. Isn't he cute? Okay, I'm going to take that lengthy walk back to the ship. If you've never sailed with Hurtigruten, they do such a great job. Ooh, it's snowing right now, or raining. It's doing something. This is where you would catch the coastal steamer 24/7 every day of the year. It's snowing. We're navigating through this shallower stretch, the Trollfjord. Fishing and fish farming is the most important thing in Stokmarknes.